BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello, Jenni Murray welcoming you to Thursday's Woman's Hour on the 13th of August. Still to come in today's programme, the Lockdown DJ. How do you play your music and perform when nightlife is no more? Might live streaming create an opportunity to make the industry more gender balanced? Now, DJs, disc jockeys, are not just people who spin records to which people will dance. They're performers, many of whom create their own music, put on a show in a nightclub, and are crucial to breaking new artists. But what do they do during lockdown when there is no nightlife? And how much more difficult is it for women who've had to fight for their place in an industry that's long been dominated by men? Well, I'm joined by Ngaio Anyia and DJ Flight, whose work is mainly in drum and bass. DJ Flight, that's a small example of the work that you do. Now, I know you've founded something called EQ50, a project aiming to address gender balance in drum and bass, and that was in 2018. Why did you found it?
Simply for the fact that women haven't been supported enough or given big enough platforms within our subgenre of dance music for many years. I'm grateful for the level that I've been able to reach, but it's still very much a male-dominated industry. So a crew of us got together and just thought that we could use our profiles and platforms to try and encourage more women to get involved.
What effect has lockdown had on the project?
It actually hasn't had any negative effect. We've just launched a big mentorship program. It felt like the time was right. So we wanted to actually launch it last year, but we're all busy with commitments elsewhere. Just with people being furloughed from work, in quarantine, on lockdown, it felt like, and just watching the whole civil rights uprising, both here and in the US and globally, it felt like it was the right time to kind of push this. Excuse me. People were focusing more on social issues. They had a bit more time to kind of take notice of what was going on.
And how much interest has there been in young women wanting to get into drum and bass?
We've had an amazing response, actually. We received maybe double the number of applications that we were hoping to. And just the responses that we've seen from men and women across our social media channels, via messages from our website, emails, etc. It's been a really positive response and proves that something like this was definitely needed. I think the fact that we're working with 5 established drum and bass labels definitely helps as well, because women can see that there will be official support for them should they want to try and get involved, whether that's producing or promoting or DJing, whatever it is.
Ngaio, how have you been managing during lockdown?
So I went down a bit of the live streaming angle, where I, luckily before lockdown happened, about a year ago, I got a good sort of a DJing unit, which is what you would get industry standard in clubs, but sort of a lot smaller and easier to take around. And so that did mean that I could do quite a lot of DJing at home, which was incredibly lucky, because I think for a lot of people, as soon as they weren't able to go into clubs, they didn't have anything to play on. So because I did have something that I could use, then I decided to do streaming whole DJ sets over the internet.
And how do people know where to find you?
Well, that's where it gets a little bit more complicated, I guess, because my major platform probably is Instagram in terms of social media, and Facebook, but Instagram is probably where I have more of an engaged audience. And when it went online, playing over Instagram actually was the hardest thing, because when you're playing other people's songs, obviously everything is copyrighted. So as soon as a popular song is picked up by Instagram, it shuts down your live stream. And as soon as that happens, after 3 or 4 times, it actually won't let you log back in. So there was quite a lot of difficulty around how to get around that. Some people started talking over the music, like with a microphone. But other people moved to Twitch, which is actually started out as a way that people could watch others playing video games. So again, some people switched over to that, but if you didn't already have an existing audience there, you're just kind of playing to no one. So it's been a bit of a juggling act.
Flight, I know you played a live stream from a club. What was that like? In a club, but no audience?
It actually felt amazing. It was just really nice being back in that environment with people who I love and really get on with, fellow DJs that I respect. The crew were all really cool. We kind of kept socially distanced. They cleaned down the equipment and had a little pause in between each set. It was a great experience. I mean, personally, I've only done one live stream so far. I'm actually doing one later tonight that's just been announced as well. I wasn't really in as much of a hurry as other people have been to do them during quarantine so far.
Why not?
I think because I realised that the coronavirus impact was going to last for quite a while. I can understand people wanting to keep their profiles at a certain level and keep busy. But, I mean, I'm quite grateful. I've got a day job as well. I work as a radio producer, so I didn't have as much of a financial worry as other people.
Ngaio, how has your income fared since lockdown?
I mean, it's kind of stayed the same. I've also been keeping busy. I do quite a lot of different things. So in terms of the DJing, that wasn't necessarily a big. It was helpful. Obviously, money is always helpful, but it wasn't my main source of income. But yeah, going back into the world now, I've also played in a couple of clubs, socially distanced, which has been really interesting. I've done a few live streams organised by bigger people, so they've been able to pay. So the fees have gone down. I think that's kind of to be expected. But also because I do run my own events, I think especially in Bristol, well, I don't know, especially in Bristol, it could be anywhere. I've only been in Bristol because of the virus. But there's definitely been a kind of everyone banding in together. So it's kind of given the opportunity for more partnerships to open up that maybe wouldn't have had the opportunity to do this. So working with new types of promoters and new venues and being a bit more experimental, I guess, as well in the way that we've been doing live streams and taking a few more chances, which has been interesting. So yeah, the fees have gone down and I think there's an expectation that it will sort of slowly go back up. But again, it depends if the industry itself gets enough support, which at the moment is not looking that positive.
But Flight, how hopeful are you that you will achieve gender equality with the efforts that you've been making, despite the current restrictions?
I guess you have to stay optimistic at all times. It feels like there is movement now happening. I mean, with the labels we've got on board, they've all been really positive and happy to be involved. And after we announced, we did actually have quite a few producers hit us up directly offering their help. So, I mean, the plan always was to expand into different territories with this mentorship and do others. And just keep it rolling so that the mentees become mentors themselves in the future.
I was talking to DJ Flight and Ngaio Anyia.